Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Thank you for being here, and I apologize for being a couple minutes late. Like to, and hello, our remote attendees, Susan, I see, Melanie. Let's start as we always do with just an introduction of everyone who's here, a quick hello. Want to start, Adrian? Or just a quick introduction or hello? It's who you are.
Craig.
Oh, pardon me, Craig. Just back from vacation.
I'm Craig Harris Johnson through Marketing Communications.
Paul DNU, Finance and Facilities.
Mark Controller, Campus Safety, Emergency Manager.
Katie Cook, AAECC.
Adrian Ranick, Interim AVP of Academics.
Thank you, Craig.
Carl Stokes, Human Services.
Joseph D., graduating this May from Human Services.
Colleen Reedy, VP of Student Affairs and Workforce Development.
Colin Davidson, Architectural Technology.
James Ruggiero, Architectural Technology.
Jonah Lewis, student.
Debbie Goodwalt, the new Executive Dean of Nursing. Paula Furlan, Nursing.
I'm Mike Morton, Nursing student.
Gabriella Fitzgibbon, Teacher Prep Student. Stephanie Huffnagel from Paralegal and Legal Studies Department.
Sebastian Stampoli, student in the paralegal program.
Adam Patterson, Dean of Liberal Arts and Sciences.
Juan Martinez, Dean of Business Public Service.
Katie Marshall, Dean of Continuing Ed.
Eric Neal's the VP of Enrollment Management.
Laura Tasha, Chair of Special Projects.
Arda Plana, Comptroller. Maureen Ring, Director of HR.
Colleen Quinn, Mathematics, College Senate Chair.
Yes.
Gail Frazier, Executive Assistant to the President.
Ken Crowley, trustee.
Candace Morrison, Trustee.
Right. Jeff Stone, trustee.
Adam Tagai, President.
Hi.
And
This is Len Lanahan, everyone. I'm Amanda Lau, Trustee. Go over there.
Bob Germoni, IT. Ryan Noble, IT.
And on screen, Susan.
Sue Holdaway, Executive Director, Auxiliary Services Corporation.
And Melody.
Melody Baker, Trustee.
Great. All right. Yes. I'll declare the meeting formally started here with the presence of a quorum. The trustees that I see we are missing are Cameron Lloyd and Carrie Phillips,
Yes.
right? So other than that, we have 6 trustees present, and therefore a quorum is present and we can do business. Dr. Sagai, would you kindly start? And welcome to
Absolutely.
all students and faculty members here. It's great. We're going to be hearing a little bit about you.
That's right, that's right. Well, Happy New Year's, everybody. Before we start, I wanted to acknowledge Gail for really taking, as you know, Kelly retired from the college, so we wish her well and did an awesome job for us. But Gail has started to take that role and help us with that and do a lot of the work. So I wanted to start with Gail first to talk about our breakfast this morning.
Yes, this morning we have from from Bakery and Pastry Arts, the student that brought it over. He's a disabled vet. He's in his 60s, and he just enjoys doing it. He's not able to work, so even when he graduates, we wanted him to stay, but he had to get back. Even when he graduates, he's going to come back and volunteer because he enjoys it so much. So you have some breakfast sandwiches, some raspberry pastries, and some yogurt parfaits.
Thank you. And typically we order out from other vendor, but this is part of our way of really acknowledging the work and the creativity that we have within our college. So with that being said, the other thing that I know we talked about making that a sort of a staple of our starting our board meeting is focusing on our students. So with that, Bob, can you put the flyer up? So with that, as we all know, all of us, right, get very excited and are excited about graduation. Finishing strong and graduation matter. That is really critical for us as a college, right? We know start here and go anywhere. I'm an example. Many of our people here are example who went to the college and are doing awesome in the community. But the key is that as a college, that is our focus. It does meet everything with our strategic plan is that we want our students. An example of that today you will have. And what we did today, we have many students, so we'll have that as we go through. But what we did today, we have our division of academics, representation of students, as well as our faculty who are going to be representing those students. So if we could start, what do we have here? Professor Stoll, can you start?
Yes. How you doing, everybody? Carl Stokes, Human Services Department at City Campus. Just recently transferred from South, so I'm there now trying to, get the momentum going for the program at the different building, and it's going very well. Doing a lot of community outreach and working with some great students. I'm Joseph.
I'm Joseph. I'm actually in the human services field right now. I just did an internship in the fall for Boys on the Right Track, which helps kids learn how to run, but it also teaches them like how to deal with bullying, how to deal with other obstacles that are going in their personal lives as well as. And then we just did a 5K for veterans and them during November on Veterans Day.
Awesome, great. Thank you so much for being here.
Yes,
Professor?
I'm James Ruggiero from the Architecture Department here at Erie Community College. And we have a very unique program in the sense that we're one of the very few community colleges in the country that have direct transfers to programs in the area of UB, Alfred State, several Villa Maria, RIT, and several colleges and universities that accept our graduates straight up out of graduation here. In addition to that, we also have a fantastic placement program with firms within Buffalo. Quite a few of the firms in Buffalo have SUNY Erie graduates as partners and owners of firms, so it makes that transition very easy for us. And we have Jonah Lewis here today, who's going to talk to you a little bit about his experience.
Oh yeah, throughout the year and a half, or almost 2 years exactly now, it's just been a good experience, learning opportunities. I truly came to ECC because of that versatility when it comes to either finding a job after college or transferring. So we have that internship coming up within the next several weeks now, so we can really gauge that. But throughout my time here, it's been a great experience. Mr. Ruggiero and Colin now.
Thank you. Great.
I'm Tammy Goodable, the new director of nursing, executive director of nursing. Just stepped into the role on the 10th of January. Learning a lot. Paula's been my right-hand person here, filling me in on all the duties and things like that. We still have the nursing program going strong here on campus as well as on the city campus with very much dedicated staff. We had our December graduates are starting to now take our boards. Our May graduates, however, we had 100% passing rate on
Very
review
nice.
and
Very
passing.
nice. Very nice.
We have Michael Morton here. He is one of our nursing students, and he's going to tell you a little bit about why he's here.
Good morning. Thank you so much. I was asked to just talk a little bit about how I got here, what I found here, and where I'm going. So I am a second career student. I started in the fire service and then worked in emergency management domestically and internationally. I had a chance to do an early retirement that coincided with COVID, which was very opportune to be able to spend some time at home with the kids and the family. But during that time, I really realized that I missed being a helper, and I started to see the incredible job that nurses were doing during COVID, and it struck me that that would be a really neat way to keep fulfilling that desire to work with people and help people. I thought that I would go to UB in the Accelerated Bachelor of Science program. They recommended that I do my prerequisites here, and honestly it really changed my view of what a community college was. I took my prerequisites at the STEM building, had amazing teachers, and they suggested that I look at the nursing program here, which was appealing in that it lets you start right away, particularly if you already have some credits, you can jump right into the program, I think, and have good success. It offers a lot more life balance than the accelerated BSN programs, and has a 100% NCLEX pass rate, which is a huge incentive because then you can actually work. But upon coming here, I became even more impressed with the program. First of all, it is a hard program. I've done a couple degrees. This one is not easy by any means, but that's part of that prep for that NCLEX pass rate. But incredible faculty and a very diverse and interesting student body that in a lot of ways benefits from the affordability as well of this college. There's a lot of people that I really believe wouldn't be in nursing if they had to go to another school because they'd be excluded by the amounts of tuition. And they can come here and succeed and start working quite quickly compared to some of the other degree programs. So that's a little bit of my journey. My next step is a summer internship at Buffalo General in the ER. I just got word of that.
Nice.
And then hopefully ER nurse after that.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you. Adam?
My name is Adam Patterson. I'm the Dean of Liberal Arts and Sciences. Our instructor was unable to make it, so I'm introducing Gabriella. She is from our teacher prep program. Here at the college, it provides a really strong foundation for students that want to move on to a four-year and eventually a master's to teach within their field, as well as giving them a lot of knowledge and experience to be the best they can be. In my opinion, and this is just coming from a former teacher, right? Teaching is the way that we communicate. It's also the way that we build community and really create a better world. So with that, I will introduce Gabriella.
So good morning, I'm Gabriella,
Good morning.
and like you said, I'm a student in the teacher prep program. And the reason that ECC even was on my mind, because I was in a four-year school before this. I was actually at UB for physical therapy. So I had no intention of going into teaching, but that didn't pique my interest, so I wanted to get out of there and not waste any more money than I already did. And being a first-generation college student, I didn't know what a community college could offer me. I thought it was just something you can go get a 2-year degree and you have to go into work after. But after doing a little bit of research, I found this program which has me do my first 2 years here, and then I can go right into Buff State, which is what I plan to do in the fall. I plan to go there and finish off my bachelor's and then get my master's in special education. Some of the really intriguing things about this program are the fieldwork observations we do. So for 3 of the 4 teaching classes that we have to take, we have to do 15 hours in the field. And I've completed 2 out of the 3 of those, and I had an amazing experience in both of my opportunities. I was in the Williamsville School District for both, and I spent 5 weeks in each placement. I was in a 2nd grade classroom for my first placement and a 4th grade for my second. It was amazing. It taught me more than the textbook can. I got hands-on experience, and it felt like it was so much more information than I can get from just reading the textbook straight up, as well as more than just the teachers can tell me, because my professors, of course, have been professors and have taught for so many years, but they haven't taught in today's time in an elementary school. So being face-to-face with an elementary school teacher and with students, I learned so much more about the program. And then one of my favorite things about the program is every semester, at the end of the semester, there's a panel, and they are people that are in the education field, whether that be a principal, a director, a 2nd grade teacher, ENL teacher, or anybody in the education field, and they all come together, and it's on WebEx. It is in the evening, so most people are able to attend. You can attend virtually from anywhere, and it is somewhere where we can go and just observe, ask questions, and kind of get tips and tricks that they can give us, similar to my observation, how I can't get these tips and tricks from just reading studies online or textbooks. So that's another way that our program offers us to be face-to-face with people that are actually in the field currently that can give us knowledge in their own personal experiences. Overall, our department and our professors are amazing. There may not be many professors in this program right now, but the few that we have are amazing, and you can tell that they want the best for you personally and academically. They are here to help you if you have a problem inside of school or outside of school. If I email any of my professors at any time, I get a response within 24 hours, whether that be Monday through Friday or even sometimes on the weekend. If I need help with an assignment or help finding a placement or even just anything with the panel or anything to do with our program, they're there for you. And they are making sure that in any experience you have with them, you know that they're there for you. And as for after graduation, I am planning to apply to Buff State and attend there, like I said, for the rest of my bachelor's and finish on my master's.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you. Becky?
I'm Stephanie Hucknagel. I am the new chair of the Paralegal and Legal Studies Department. I didn't really have anything prepared. Everyone else. This is great. So a lot of the stuff though that everyone else is saying resonates with me in our program. We do offer students credit to be able to go out and take internships because, as you said, really on-the-job training. We also, I don't practice as an attorney anymore, but other professors in our program do practice as an attorney, so we get that real-world experience. And also, I try to make sure that we maintain connections with the Buffalo community. We have graduates out there working as judges, attorneys, paralegals, graduates that graduated a long time ago, so we try to maintain those connections so that our students, if they want to after our program, can go out and work right away. Although we do have quite a number of students, probably like a third of our students do continue on to a four-year college. We have articulation agreements with several colleges in the area. This is Sebastian Scampoli. He is the, maybe not last, because I don't know, someone else might show up, but in a long line of Scampolis that have gone through our program. Maybe one of you will have a child one day. And that's great, because it shows that, people believe in the program and that they are able to go out and, as I said, either get a job or transfer. We have transfer agreements with UB in 2 different departments, Damon, as well as Canisius, I believe. So, Sebastian.
So as to why I chose this program, I actually don't believe I ever would have really found it if it wasn't for my father going first. He graduated, I believe, in 2016. And after he went through the program, he sort of just fell in love with it. He right away knew he wanted to send all his kids through it. So yeah, after he graduated, he sent my 3 siblings through. They all had positive experiences with the program. 2 of them are working in the law right now, and my sister is in law school. So I mean, that obviously speaks highly of the program already, but my experience with it was fantastic. When I went in, I was 18, coming out of high school, had no idea what I really wanted to go into. So it's a fantastic, also just general education to just be able to understand the law. There's so many different things you can do with it. So, I mean, it's so versatile in that sense. And the confidence it gave me just because I feel smarter, just like knowing law terms. And just the critical thinking it promoted in me, I'd say. When I came out of high school, the first paper I ever turned into Professor Knitsky, it was high school level work, kind of just putting a paragraph on a paper. There's no formatting or anything. And he told me, he goes, "I know you can do better." So that was a big changing moment for me. I knew I was capable of the college level work. And he knew because he'd seen my family's work before me. So he knew I was better than just a long paragraph on a piece of paper. But yeah, the critical thinking, I mean, the way it set me up for the future, I don't think I would have been as encouraged to continue my education had it not helped me financially so much. That's a huge aspect of it. So I'm continuing my, I'm going to complete my undergrad at Damon in the paralegal program. And going into it, I don't think I ever had any plans of continuing with the law. I kind of just went along with what my dad was telling me, just go in this program, you'll figure it out. But after these few semesters, I mean,
after taking a class with me.
And real estate and law office management, I mean, it's just been a great overall experience. So, I mean, I think it's given me the confidence to maybe even continue past undergrad with the law. I mean, I've seen what it's done for all of my siblings. It's been just awesome overall. So.
Thank you, everyone. So thrilled to hear that, and that's part of our goal is to center everything that we do with our students and really getting our students to the finish line and then beyond. So thank you, and we change generations. So thank you for being here. I don't know if there's any comment from the board, but.
I had 1 or 2. First of all, as a practicing lawyer at Hudson Hospital, largest law firm, I thank the paralegal department Sebastian, fourth person through a program. That's impressive, but also a little scary for you. Well done. And particularly want to thank the faculty members here. Coming out, just the daily student-first approach that I think starts. Dr. Sagai has always grounded all of her approaches to things, and we at the board are doing our best to keep that as our mantra as well. The whole place really is here for the success and benefit of the students, and without that, we're all lost. And I think we do well to remind ourselves at each board meeting that there are students out there are programs out there are faculty members helping students, and I think that helps ground and center the board members. And Dr. Scott, we appreciate you bringing that forward. It goes beyond the mission statement. Actually hearing from the students is something that we as a board appreciate and wish to continue.
Thank you. Thank you.
Others? Okay. Well, again, thank you for all of those who joined us this morning. Professor, on your point about architectural students ultimately owning their own firms, one of my closest friends, Frank Burkhart, Advanced Architecture and Planning, is an proud ECC grad. He's done a lot of work here. He's done a lot of work on the builds renovations over at the stadium, and he never misses a chance to talk about the architecture program here and what it's done for him and made his career possible.
Thank you. So certainly you're welcome to stay, but I know some of you have class to teach and go to, so you certainly, when our board fully participate during our commencement, so you certainly will see them there or maybe other places, but thank you for being here this morning. So certainly to stay, but you certainly could leave as well. So thank you.
Look forward to shaking hands at graduation.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, thank you.
Gotta be.
Oh. We may need, we have 6 only. I think we probably will, just to clarify. All right. To our normal business then. Thank you again, everyone. We have circulated the materials beforehand. And Gail, again, I'd like to echo Dr. Sagai's thanks to you on helping transition from the good work that Kelly was doing with the board to making sure that we stay on course. Appreciate it very much. And you've always been a good help to the board, even when Kelly was here. So it doesn't seem at all out of place. The Board of Trustee minutes from our December 14th. We met relatively close to Christmas. Since then, we've had the holidays, and some people have been out of town. So, but we have had the minutes circulated, and a motion to approve unless there are comments on the minutes.
So moved.
Thank you. And second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor of approving the December 14th minutes as circulated, say aye.
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 Approved. Any dissent? Now we have, as we always do, we'll move to our items that require actual approval as opposed to mere informational deliveries, and we'll do it by committee. So, Trustee Crewley, I was on vacation at the last budget meeting, but I know it occurred, and we had 4 items here as I see it and have gone over it to approve today. You want to talk about those or draw in comment from others?
The first 2, Erickson is the person who can explain to the full board what those items are about.
Great, thank you. Thank you. Good morning. Happy New Year. I'm very excited to bring forward this very first one, of course all of them, but in particular this one, which is a pilot agreement with Cleveland Hill High School, in which we will be able to offer to students that are qualifying for free and reduced lunch Title I eligibility, even though they may reside in a non-Title I district. This is a build upon, it's going to expand, I should say, on what we are already doing with our Title I school districts, but allowing now students to be able to benefit from the same opportunities. And it's a very strong alignment then to our equity and diversity strategic pillar. It's a really great opportunity to allow more students to be able to earn college level credit and break down some of those financial barriers.
we will vote on all 4 of these collectively unless someone sees reason to split any one of them out.
Okay, thank
Great.
you. Thank you, Erickson. And the other 2 relate to the work of Colleen.
Good morning, everyone.
Hi, Colleen.
The next 2 are, we went to RFP for outside training agencies. To be clear, the only time we would use those agencies is if we do not have faculty that can provide training. We don't use those training companies unless they are needed. So we don't necessarily use them all the time. Again, only if faculty are not available.
I saw that. I saw the hourly rates. Do we have a sense at all of how much this runs each year, or how much we budget for this and where we are vis-a-vis budget? Is this typically an overrun situation or short? Or how do we, if we don't quite know what we're going to use, how do we budget for that?
Katie Marshall, who's our new Dean of Continuing Ed, can talk a little further on that particular item.
So it's a little tricky because we don't always know when industry come to us with corporate training requests. We can't quite anticipate what they're going to need. So we've built in $300,000 to spend on each of these, and we assume based on past expenses that will cover it. So that's what we're going from is past expenses.
And part of the goal, Katie, as you know, she's fairly new in the position, but certainly she took that role before as well, is to really have a vision for workforce. Under Colleen, we haven't really focused too much on that, so we'll have a lot more solid projection as we are really focusing on marketing and having a vision and a strategic plan just for workforce. So that's more to come as Katie move into that position in full-time capacity.
Thank you, Colleen.
Thank you. Thanks, Katie.
Jeff, I think these are all pretty straightforward. I'd like to make a motion to approve all 4 items.
In a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Consider them approved. Thank you. And we've all had them in full and in summary in our materials. Now we have...
I just want to say it's an exciting partnership. I'm thrilled about that. Those things are so important. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for bringing this to us.
Thanks. Well, you're talking about the Cleveland Hill or the technical training?
The Cleveland Hill.
Yeah.
The technical training is important too, but the Cleveland Hill, I think that's a pretty big deal.
Good deal. All right. Candace, would you kindly lead us through the 5 items that you have on your committee for approval?
Sure. So we have 5 items on the committee for approval today. We had a meeting on January 3rd. The items 1 through 4 were discussed at that meeting, and Erickson's going to provide some details for those items. Item 5, I believe, is new. We did not discuss that at
4 and 5.
4 and 5 were received outside of committee. So Erickson, if you could provide the details there as well, and then we can take the vote after that.
So items 1 through 3 that you see here for the agenda this morning. The first is in relation to our automotive tech program and the utilization of training material and content related to Hyundai and their learning management system, which will allow our students to be able to stay up to date with all of the technology as well as content related then to the Hyundai manufacturing process. The second one here is an agreement with Wendy Correctional Facility. So this is part of a large SUNY-wide initiative college and prison program. We are partnering with the University at Buffalo SUNY, their sociology department, to offer to individuals at Wendy Correctional Facility both the non-credit, non-tuition, pre-collegiate courses, as well as then being the credit-bearing teaching partner for non-sociology classes. Students would then be working towards their social science degree while then being able to, in partnership with the University of Buffalo, earn towards their 4-year sociology degree. This is the MOU from DOCS, Department of Correction and Community Services. Once this is signed, as well as our application, we then have the opportunity to be able to go into Wendy and teach at their facility.
And this has been triggered by the new state arrangement that allows for financial aid to incarcerated persons?
That's correct. That was in part of it. So this is about a year worth of conversation and partnership with the University of Buffalo. I do think that one of the triggers for it is in fact the allocation changes to both FAFSA and TAP to allow for eligibility to those that are in the incarcerated population. And then the third one that's here that was discussed in the meeting is a continuation of our Buffalo City School District P-Tech programs. That is our B-Solar BIT, which is our information technology programs.
If we could perhaps do a vote on items 1 through 3, since those were discussed at the committee, and then tackle items 4 and 5 separately.
Any issues come up in committee that would stand between us and a positive vote?
And I would just like to note that Erickson presented all of these items at the committee. We discussed each of them. I think that they show a lot of great work by the team, particularly the Wendy Correctional Facility. We talked about that. It's about a year or so of work and effort. So just to raise up the amount of work that's being done here and the opportunities that we have with that program. And the Hyundai agreement as well, that's going to add, I think, some good opportunities for the auto tech as well. So just to highlight those items. But yes, they were discussed at length in the committee. So if we could do the vote on 1 through 3 now.
If I may add to that just a little bit.
Sure.
One of the things I think we discussed is making sure that we have data to support that. So that's one of the sort of takeaway that we had, is that we will bring data, particularly with the P-TECH. We've been doing this program for a while now, so I think we have enough data to really, so that's the next step to bring to the committee, and then we'll bring it appropriately to the board.
Dr. Sky, you're in accord with all 3 of these?
Absolutely.
Okay. You want to move approval of 1 through 3?
Yes, so I'll move for approval of curriculum items 1 through 3.
Second? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Well, those are approved. Then we'll move on to the 2 items received outside the committee.
Do you want me to discuss those as well? Okay. So this here, the other agreement, the annual participation fees, this is, I believe, a continuation then of allowing us to participate in the distance learning project. So that this actually, I think, has been brought forward before. So a continuation of those efforts here. And then the second one, going through the application here, is in regards then to the utilization of the Law Enforcement Training Academy for instructions and utilization of the parking lots at the Bill Stadium.
Right, we've had that in front of us every year. Yeah, it's a good use of the parking lot once they clear the snow.
We have another one there.
Are you in favor,
Yes.
Dr. Sagai, of both 4 and 5?
Yes.
Any other discussion on 4 and 5?
Just to make a note on item 5, my law firm I work for, Lipsitz Green, does represent the bills, so I just want to make that potential conflict known. I don't think, as you just noted, Jeff, this is voted on and done every year, so I don't think it's...
And it also involves no cost to the college. It's a matter of just utilizing a big empty parking lot for vehicle training.
Yeah.
So it's pretty non-controversial.
So I will move to approve items 4 and 5 under the curriculum committee.
Thank you. Candace, second?
Second.
Len? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Those items as well are approved, and thus items B, 1 through 5 are all approved. Amanda, I know you may have had a meeting, I think, in the interim since we last met, and we have on page 37 of our materials the report for the Human Resources Agenda. Erickson, I see you're extending. There you are.
Jeff, if I may, I'd like to request that this be tabled until
after
All right. Executive session.
Very well.
Thank you.
We will move on past that. And then for our informational items, Ken, out of budget, audit, and facilities, please.
We have 3 items related to the Auxiliary Services Corporation. First 2 on the financial reports. Susan is with us by video. And also the presentation of the annual audit of the corporation. We'd start with Susan with the financial summary for the first 3 months of the year, fiscal year, and the quarterly report.
Sure. Good morning, everybody.
We are actually excited about our first quarter results as we are exceeding budget by about $64,000. The reasons are we still have some, we're lucky to have funding for child care for workforce retention grants. Food service is doing better than anticipated, primarily because when the college consolidated the campuses, we have a greater concentration of students at both North and City. Things like the football team moving to North, they're big eaters, so we do better food service at North. We have higher sales there. City is holding its own, also doing better than budget. We've had a little additional revenue from Buffalo Public Schools as they added breakfast vouchers. They used to just do lunch vouchers. And I think just overall our students are hungry. Bookstore sales are still lagging. That's pretty traditional in higher ed right now. There's so many other opportunities for and delivery methods for students. So the bookstore sales do tend to decline. And we're just hoping that this positive trend continues into the spring semester.
In our materials, fellow trustees, page 38 is the letter from Susan. And I just wrote positive. It was nice to see. And I know this is separate from the support that you've received from the PPP program in 2 installments, which certainly kept us, floating at ASC through the pandemic years. It's nice to see some holistic economic health over there. And thank you for making both the summary report, which is very useful as we sift through everything, and your verbal report today, Susan.
You're welcome.
Just to add to that, I think part of what Susan and team is seeing is the type of initiative that particularly our student services under Colleen Reedy has been putting forward, making sure that we did not have in-person orientation. We started that back in fall. We repeated that this semester as well, and really engaging our students in a very different way to make sure that they see a reason to be here, including really making the environment more friendly for our students at all the campuses, and really trying to create a learning environment both in and outside the classroom. So that effort is really showing in terms of what you're seeing on what Susan and the team is seeing from that end of it. So really engaging our students to make it meaningful when they are here. So that's also showing some of that positive impact.
Now, Susan gave a good summary and Ken did, but there is the full-blown audit within our materials. And I don't know if we'll receive any presentation on that, but I don't know that we necessarily need to, but we have the full-blown report that was submitted to Budget Committee and to all the trustees.
And it was presented to the Budget
Committee.
Committee.
Good,
so, yes.
good.
Yeah, and everything looks like it's in order.
So Carl spoke, or his colleague spoke
Yes.
about that?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Go ahead, next items.
Items 3 and 6 relate to Paul's work. Nothing stands out that would require much attention. Just wondering, Paul, is there any updates on capital projects or anything else that we should be brought up to date on?
Brief update. So briefly, the dry library was costed out, as well as G for the envelope. That would be the windows, doors, flashing, that type of stuff. The budget came back kind of high for G, so they're planning to bid dry for this year. Hopefully that'll start early summer. Bretschker, we had a kickoff meeting for replacement of the boilers and unit ventilators last week. The work is expected to begin sometime in March. Actually have a meeting, an on-site meeting with the contractors next week to actually kind of hash that out, because there is some abatement work. And the abatement contractor will be on site as well, just to kind of see what we got to do to make sure we're not putting anybody at harm or risk. Signage, we have a Our next meeting with ASI is on February 6th for the exterior signage at North Campus. Clay tile and the skylight, our next meetings are February 28th. Both those are scheduled to either start, that would be the skylight, and the clay tile to resume approximately April Fool's Day. Lighting for lot 11, that's the horseshoe over here on Young's. The purchase order is issued. The expected delivery for that lighting is February 24th. Soffits around the exterior of some of the buildings in the quad. The PO's issued, but we don't have a ship date. There's a spring center. There's a large air handling unit on the east end of the building that is well past its useful life. That is finally spec'd. There's a 7-month lead time on it, so that's going out to bid in the next month or two, with the expected install in summer of 25, spring, summer 25. And the last item is the RFP for South Campus considerations went out on the 22nd with the replies due on February 16th.
February what, Paul?
16th.
1/6, okay.
So, any questions?
Thank you, Paul. Items 4 and 5 relate to the budget. Arda is here and can update us on that.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I really don't have much of an update. There's a lot happening. We are currently reviewing all 3 fiscal years. Our audit ending for August 2023 is still under review. We do await for ASC's and the foundation's financial statements. They are component units to our financial statements, so that's going well. No issues there. This year, so for August 31st, 2023, our unrestricted fund balance is at $24.5 million. That honestly trickled into the current fiscal year. Financially, we're doing well. Everything is being monitored. Our vacancy control fund is a healthy amount. We have posted quite a few positions, trying to backfill some critical positions that are needed. We have begun the budget process for year 24-25 as well. On Friday, Dr. Sagai made me present to the senior executive staff, just giving them an overview and some processes and deadlines that we must meet in order to have the budget fully executed and on time for fiscal year 24-25. In there, we do expect to actually present to the Budget and Audit Committee meeting sometime in March with our current projections, what we're seeing for for next year, and that's about it.
Just to add to that, part of the expectation is for all of the areas of the college to really pay attention on all of our contract, all of our grant that we have. We have a huge opportunity with a lot of grant money that the college has that we really need to really allocate it appropriately. So the departments by the senior leadership will be able to be presented on that and really talk through that. The other areas that we looked at also in terms of rental facilities and equipment. So those are all the things that I got to commend Arda and her team for putting it together so that it'll go down to each of the areas. So academic will have all of those information, work with the deans as well as the department chair to really make decision based upon all of that information. We don't always kind of tie those, but I think it's critical that we talk about what contract and services that we have. Do we have them in multiple departments? Can we share? What type of grant do we have that we could offset that, as well as looking at staffing need and what does that look like in terms of the department or the division rather, enrollment, right? What does that look like by enrollment by program? I know that's something that we need to present to the budget committee about our programs. What does that look like in terms of how our students enrolling, finishing, and what is that market? So that work is being done, but we needed to do it through this budget process. So again, Arda did a wonderful job of laying that out, and the expectation is for each area of the college to engage in that to make sure that everyone is apprised of that. The other thing I think is critical, Arda sent out a message to all college community to make sure there's transparency of what we're doing and how we're doing it, so that people are very clear how the budget impact what we do daily. So, but we'll have more information as the result of that.
Good. You know, the New York State fiscal picture is tightening. So, and we're not in the era of federal funds coming in for COVID and pandemic. So we have to bear that in mind as we do our planning for the next year. Dr. Sagai, the Vacancy Control Fund, just want to get a sense of how you feel about our ability to bring in those critical positions, the timing, do we have enough there? We've talked about some positions in IT, human resources, student counseling, helping students pass the barriers. How are you feeling about our ability to use that vacancy control money to address those needs?
Absolutely, great question. I think that's a work in progress. I have to commend our new leadership under Katie Cook on the AAECC. We've been working with the team to really figure that out. I have to tell you, a lot of folks in the college have been applying internally. We have a very talented individual who wanted opportunity to move on from one position to another, to challenge himself, but also to really give back to the college. So under Katie's leadership, we have been able to do that. There's some work in progress there to really look at that, because we have some difficulty recruiting new individuals to the college because of the salary that we have. And that's just contract, but I gotta say, the team is working with us, as well as the other faculty federation and the other unions are also working with us to make sure that we're doing what makes sense for everyone. So I think I'm comfortable where we are, but what it is time and making sure that we look at what we have and realigning. And we're doing a lot of realigning internally as well, because there's some positions or some areas that's not needed, or we don't have enough student or other services within that. So that's the work that we're doing with all the union leadership under Maureen. So it's a work in progress, and we'll continue to update that through the Talent and Diversity Committee.
Yeah, and Katie, we had a good meeting with you and I and Dr. Sagai a month ago or so. Would you like to add any comments in response to what you're hearing here on the question I asked?
No, I mean, we do definitely have some challenges with our current pay scale because the contract is so outdated. You know, they just don't exist out there. It's a unicorn, you're expecting a lot for a little pay. So it's a real challenge that really needs to be addressed.
Okay. And Maureen, any comment from your side of things?
No, I think everything was covered.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah.
Yeah, and our vacancy control fund currently is at $1.1 million. I know we had like 10 positions actually filled in the month of December. We did budget for 529 full-time positions. We're currently sitting at 510, and this is as of December 1st, so yeah, roughly 120. Considering those 10 new positions that were filled in the month of December.
I think the goal here is for us to ensure that we're stable, right? And
yeah.
We have to be very mindful that we want to make sure everyone is working appropriately, and then bring in folks into different position in the college, right, as needed, as really being thought out. We want to be self-sufficient. I think, Jeff, to your point, at the state level, SUNY level, they're really different in the ways the formula is being put together in terms of helping the different colleges. So the idea is for us to be self-sufficient and maintain this, not just for now, but for the future. So we really have to be mindful of that. So we really are taking our time thinking through this and ensuring those areas are being covered appropriately.
We've taken some hard steps to put the college in a financially
Yes.
sustainable position. But as our budget chair, Ken, has properly noted, there's still structural imbalances in exactly how we're functioning. We've certainly taken a good piece out of that problem, but we don't have a situation where we're just casual about the finances here. That being said, we want to make sure, you know, to my question, that we're addressing the students first, needs of the students, and then that we are properly handling things with our faculty and staff. So I think what I'm hearing is you're taking a hard look internally to
That's
see
right,
if you can
that's right.
reallocate and get people properly aligned with what they may be interested in doing and good at doing, and then using our vacancy fund as needed to bring new people in when and if we need that. My only concern is that I want to make sure that stays at a pace, that we don't leave students uncounseled, that we don't have technology issues that could be addressed if we had a proper person in place, right? Fellow trustees, any other comments before we leave that subject?
I agree with that point, Jeff, that you just raised. It's unfortunate that Cameron's not here today, because he's always, that voice of raising those areas that the students see that maybe, everyone in the room comes with a lot of great experience and knowledge, but those gaps that the students see that we don't. So I just highlight that point and, perhaps just, again,
Yeah.
Can I just add to that? The issues that we're seeing with staffing appropriately, it's more on the administrative side. Students come first and foremost, and that area is definitely not lacking, but I also think that we have work to do as far as reviewing academic programs and realigning this institution to actually students' needs more so.
Yeah.
But as far as staffing, the issues lie mostly in the administrative side.
Well, it was a good meeting we had. Katie, thank you again for that meeting. And while you always, of course, represent the views of your members very thoroughly, it's helpful, if we can collaborate with the financial folks here, with Dr. Sagai, to figure out, is there a solution here that doesn't impair your members unduly, but also leads to a place where we're in a more efficient and financially responsible position.
Thank you.
Okay, Ken, next items?
The last item is just the minutes of our meeting on November 30th. That completes the informational items that we had.
Any questions on 1 through 8 before they're accepted as informational items? If not, we'll move on. Thank you, Ken. To Candace, we just have your minutes from November 1st. Any controversy or issue there?
no issue there. They're presented in the agenda today, so.
Okay, accepted as submitted. Thank you. Marketing, Len Lanahan, highlights. There is on page 115 of our materials, pretty up-to-date summary of what's been going on, even well into January.
Right, yeah. The committee did not meet, but Craig did submit a report focusing for the most part on the marketing activities, getting ready for the spring semester, working with the Martin Group on updating the website. Also like to point out, Craig's been very active on the Joe Moser Planning Committee. A lot of marketing activity involved there, press, ticketing, and save the date type of stuff. So he's been very, very helpful there. Craig, I don't know if you wanted to add anything, or?
No, not really.
I think the report is pretty straightforward.
What is your general sense of how things are going with the Martin Group? Just asked, what is your general sense with how things are going with the Martin Group?
Quite well, actually. We're in the process really now of going through the website and seeing what things we can, where we can make improvements, and looking at some new templates, that kind of thing. So I feel very good about it.
I think the area that we are focusing, as we know, we have a vice president of marketing posted. We did get some applicants. We'll talk to those individuals. The biggest focus, I know I've heard of before in my role as officer in charge as well as now, is really ensuring communication across the college as well as outside the college to ensure that we have that. So we're working through that to make sure that our communication both to our faculty and staff and our students is consistent, as well as outside in terms of the image of the college. So that's a work in progress with Craig and his team, but also having this senior level position is going to help the college move forward with that level of presence to the community.
At the risk of being slightly out of order, I'd like to bring up the fact that at the trustees retreat in February, we are going to have our typical annual retreat. I'll talk more about that later, but One aspect of that is, Dr. Sagai, you've invited a representative of Monroe Community College to join us. And very often, since I've been on the board, MCC has been held up as an example of a community college that has its act thoroughly together, is thriving, has a unified presence in Rochester, and so forth. I am a University of Rochester graduate, so I'm familiar with MCC and just what it seemed to be when I was there. And I wonder what you might say about their marketing efforts to the extent we've looked at it, and will that be part of our retreat? Because I'd like to steal some of their ideas,
Yes,
frankly.
it will be, yes.
Yeah.
And I agree with you in terms of how they do that, but they did invest in that area to ensure that that is well put together.
Okay. All right, then anything further, Len?
Yep.
Good. All right. Policy and governance, Melody? Well, I think you're muted.
Sorry about that. So we did not meet, so there's nothing to report.
There was a policy change that's coming to the committee based on something we did last month, so that is heading
Okay.
your way.
Okay, looking forward to it.
It came out of the College Senate. Colleen, remind me what that was. There was a policy that you guys did that's heading to that committee and then to
Yep,
us.
it's headed to that committee. We approved it in December on academic forgiveness.
That's right. That's right. Okay.
And it was updating a previous policy that we already have.
And I know we're looking at AI in
Yes.
various ways, and I'm wondering if that may produce some action at the policy committee in due course.
It will. That is one of the things we'll be working on this semester. It's
Okay,
part of
thanks,
our
Colleen.
report. Yep.
All right. Carrie Phillips is absent from this meeting. Does anyone have a sense of the strategic planning and assessment side of things? I know they were scheduled to meet, I believe.
Yeah, we didn't meet, but there's probably going to be a meeting for February.
Okay.
And same thing with technology.
All right. And Amanda, talent, diversity, equity, and belonging.
So we have the minutes from our October meeting there. We did meet on January 8th. I thought it was a great discussion. I gave Dr. Sagai a lot of homework after that meeting, and her and Gail worked together and got me all the information, so I really appreciate that. Hopefully it wasn't too burdensome. So thank you for answering all of my many, many questions. We have the personal transaction report there, and I don't know, Audie, if you wanted to highlight anything that's on this particular one, but it's there for information as well.
No, I'm good.
As far as the technology committee, we were scheduled to have at this meeting, had Carrie been here, a report, an update, not a full comprehensive report, but an update on how things are going with Workday and the ERP platform in general. And we can certainly do that in February, unless there's a reason to report on anything now from your perspective.
We'll do that in February.
Okay.
Thank you.
Very good. As far as the chair report, we've had a relatively short gap between our last meeting. We've had the holidays, New Year's, and so forth. I've been away, so I have relatively less to report on, but a few items. First of all, I'd like to congratulate our continuing students and wish them well as the new semester begins. It was nice to have faculty members and students here today at the start of the new semester. I mentioned the board retreat in February, and Dr. Sagai will touch more on that when she makes her report. But we will be meeting, and that's been scheduled. And my own thoughts on that are that I am looking forward to it because I see it as a bit of a reset point for the board. We've gone through quite a lot on the financial side, on the college leadership side. We have a new president in place as of a month ago, officially anointed by SUNY. And I think it's a time when the board can put some of those issues in the rearview mirror and focus forward on what we can do with our new president and her leadership team, as well as our faculty, staff, and to some extent our students, represented by Cameron on the board. So I view it as a forward-looking retreat, and I'm looking forward to that. We will have, again, representative of Monroe Community College there, and I'm sure as trustees we will be in significant discussions about exactly what they do there. We've actually had the idea, and I think we will implement this going forward, to take a trip to MCC together, to meet with people, maybe have a co-meeting with their board or observe their board in action. I have that as a goal, and I'd like to forge a good relationship with MCC because that's a community college that by all standards is sort of an exemplar for everybody else. So I'd like to make sure that we are looking closely at them, finding their best practices and bringing as many of them here as we can.
Jeff, just to add, when I first came on the board, I went down to Monroe Community College to spend a couple hours. And you're absolutely right. There's an energy when you walk in the building, somebody's there to greet you. And student union is packed with people. And it's just a very positive environment. And it's a culture that I think we're moving towards adopting. Our differences were spread out over 3 campuses. They've got 2 campuses, but the main campus is in Brighton, suburb of Rochester. But it definitely hits you when you walk in the door.
Yeah, there's something there that we need to investigate and bring in as part of our portfolio, and we'll work on that, starting with at our retreat. I just want to compliment college leadership, Dr. Sagai, Paul, and others, Mark, on the whole response to last week's blizzard. I was oblivious to those, other than by text. I was in a much warmer place, but I heard there was some weather in Buffalo, and I know it was handled well. Dr. Sagai, maybe you and others who you want to draw out can report on that while we're talking about that.
Do you want me to do it
now?
now?
Why don't we cover the blizzard?
Okay.
Yeah.
So again, we had learned a lesson from the last time around. So, but this time around, our campuses were not affected because of the weather. But I want to echo what Chair Stone said about our faculty, our staff, our facility folks, our security, for really being there. They were there 24 hours, and I was there with them. They were calling at 1 o'clock in the morning and 6 o'clock in the morning, really taking on that. As you know, our South Campus was also designated as a warming shelter, so we had to receive people from the state quickly and had an emergency meeting and made that work. So we were able to really meet the need and really work with them, so I commend them. Especially, I want to thank Rich Rojak and his team for really doing a wonderful job to make sure everything is clear, not only for the individuals that were there, but also as we opened the college. What we did, though, because we started a week ahead compared to other community colleges or colleges in the area, our calendar is aligned with our K-12 districts, so we already started. So we had a class one day, and then we had to, close the campus. And so what we did, we met, and I know there was a lot of pressure to really make a decision quickly, but we couldn't do that quickly because we had to meet internally to make sure that our information was together as it relates to students, right? Because drop and add was going to be impacted as a result. Their financial aid was going to be impacted. So other colleges, they didn't start, so the colleges making decision quickly, the UBs and Buff State, were able to do that a lot easier than us because they had faculty and staff working. Perhaps they may have had a winter session, but not like the way we had ours. So we really had to take the time and meet with the team to make sure that didn't happen. And so, as you know, with Workday, all of that had to really take in place. So again, thank financial aid, the registrar's office, for really doing that. And then we appropriately communicated to our students that we were going to extend the drop and add so that all of our students had the time to be in the classes, because we had students who were just a Friday class. They wouldn't have had the opportunity to be in that class and, drop and add opportunity for them. So we really thought that through and made sure then we made the appropriate decision. I have to tell you, that is probably one of the hardest things in the role as a president or even officer in charge, to make the decision of opening and closing the campus because of, number one, being 3 different campuses, number 2, just the way everything works. So it is a lot complicated. I want to thank of all the people that supported that and, notifying me of different things, but again, it does take a very collaborative work with the county as well. So it takes some time to do that, but the first and most important thing is safety of our students, safety of our faculty and staff. But we also have to be mindful that when we do cancel instruction time, that's time that we're canceling, and we don't have a way to make that up right now unless it's necessary. We are able to work with our union leadership to do that. So again, I want to thank everyone for that, but it does take a lot of coordination and making the best decision possible. So we were able to do that.
There was an article in the Buffalo News just, I think, yesterday or the day before, basically outlining how much better the area as a whole has done with respect to blizzard response. County, city, state officials, emergency response, colleges, and we were part of that.
Yes.
But it's good to see the community after the tragic events of last winter, which, you know, we had an unprecedented blizzard, but it's good that lessons have been learned, equipment has been purchased, coordination has been enhanced, and to the extent we can always be part of that, I want to note that and appreciate that. I'm glad we could be a warming center, even during the Bills game, I think, which ultimately got postponed, but good work.
Yes, thank you.
And a much better outcome than last winter's blizzard, which closed one of our campuses.
Yes.
I want to bring up a subject just to keep it forward because it's been important to the trustees and at the budget committee. And I think I'm speaking to Dr. Sagai, obviously your entire team, but Arda as well, because I know Arda was looking. Oh, there you are. You were looking at this and are looking at this, but I want to keep student transportation front and center as a thing that the board is concerned about. When I speak to students, you've heard me say this, that there's a lot of, we talk about barriers, and that's one of them. I'm on the bus a long time, getting to and from classes. I can't go to work. I can't care for my children. And we can't necessarily make that perfect, but can we make it better? Can we examine what we're doing with NFTA and Cedar Bus and the others and see if that is the answer or whether it needs to be modified with them or with other parties? This is a big subject discussion at the Budget Committee. Thank you, Ken. And for the last couple of months, and we just want to mention it here at the board meeting to keep that front and center. Dr. Sagai, you know, with your team, I know that is a focus, but I want to not let that get lost in the sauce.
And it's not. I know we're putting the survey together like we said we were going to do, and we just want the semester to kind of start after dropping out, which was yesterday. So we'll send out the survey to our students to really get their perspective on it. We're also working with the vendors. We did put a proposal and information to the vendor about how we could really reevaluate our contract with them. So we're waiting for them to respond. They did respond by a way of saying who would be the point person to give them additional information. We responded. So we're waiting for them to respond back to us. So that work is being done with the vendor. But more importantly, to your point, is really getting an assessment of our student and their experience, and quite frankly, the role that we play as far as transportation is concerned. One of the things I know we have done that we will change is that typically we do the survey within the bus. In other words, the driver sort of taking a list of how many students are coming on that particular drop and how many students are being dropped at a particular site. So that's something that we should really be in front of, and we should be in charge of that, and work with the bus company to do that. But we should be in front of it to make sure that we know we're expecting this many students to do this based upon our classes. So we have some work to do on that, and that really falls under Colleen on the student affairs side. So we really have a lot more work to do. In addition to the survey, I think a part of the things that we're going to do is do a focus group with our students, because survey is great, but really having a focus group and really talking to our South Campus students, our North Campus and City and so forth, to really get their assessment as to their experience on the transportation side.
Gail, if you could just add that as an agenda item for each, I just want to make sure we at least touch on it and get a report each month about exactly what's happening on that front. I like the idea of the focus group. To the extent trustee involvement is appropriate, desired, warranted, I'm sure Ken, as our budget chair, would be willing to participate in a meeting or otherwise engage. And, you know, just want to offer that on behalf of all of us, either Ken or all. I think Ken would be the appropriate person, but
okay. We
just want to make sure that you get all the support from the trustees that you need in addressing this problem.
Thank you.
Looking forward to a few events I wanted to mention. I mentioned our retreat. It's on February 16th. And so we'll all make sure that's on our calendar and make that a priority. At that same day, we're going to be receiving the RFP responses for our inquiries on an alternate location for our South Campus. And so we'll probably take that up at the retreat if they're there. We won't take formal action at that day, but just to let people know kind of how the timing is. I know South is a big question for everybody. Everybody wants to stay involved with what's happening there. So February 16th, we'll get some RFP responses that will inform our decision-making going forward. I've spoken to Dr. Sagai on a number of occasions, and now that she is the official president, again, congratulations. She has in her portfolio the presentation of a State of the College address to the community, much like the county executive's address, which is quite impressive. The mayor's address at his annual gathering at the convention center. I would like our college to, and Len, this is an idea you've championed for several years, to be very much forward in the community, framing our situation as we see it, we who are closest to it, not letting others frame our situation, but letting the community know what we're doing, and yes, admitting to where we have issues that we're addressing, but I think it has to be truthful, forthcoming, transparent, and but it gives us an opportunity to present ourselves to the community on an annual basis, utilizing our leader, our president, to set the discussion and to keep SUNY Erie front and center in our community, warts and positive things. So that's, again, a priority, and you and I have spoken offline about that, and I know you're working on that for, I believe, the spring. We'll think about the timing of that perhaps at the retreat.
Yes.
Okay?
Absolutely.
State of College. By way of future events, I mentioned the retreat and the RFP response. We do, of course, have our meeting in February. And in early February, Dr. Sagai and I meet with the county executive and his chief of staff, Ben Swanakamp, and others at times from the county, Josh from labor and so forth, Josh Pinnell. So that's a monthly affair, and we make a lot of headway in that, by way of keeping the county executive informed of our thinking here at the board, Dr. Sagai's thinking, hearing his responses to what we're discussing, and getting his and the county's assistance, which can be very significant on our various initiatives. So that's just happening, just reminding everybody that that occurs each month. If anyone feels that there is something that should be brought up with the county executive or any of his team at the county, you're welcome to contact Dr. Sagai or me, and we will make sure that it's discussed at that meeting. Fellow trustees, we have the self-assessment form that we do each year. You'll remember it from last year. It's kind of a computerized thing from the Association of Community Colleges, trustees. And it doesn't take that long to complete, but it's very important that we do complete it timely so that we have the results at our retreat. The deadline is February 7th, if you've got your calendars, to reply to that. Gail, I believe it's in everyone's email?
Yes.
And maybe recirculate.
Directly from County Mail and from ACCT.
Right, okay, so just be in touch with the 8 of us to further prompt us and give us the link and so forth, okay? But we will all commit to do that by February 7th to set up our February 16th discussion. Speaking of Dr. Sagai and congratulating her, she was named, I just happened to look at Business First's list of the most, significant or powerful or influential or important people in Western New York, and she's one of them. Congratulations. And I know that you might want to mention now that Business First reached out to you.
Yes, so we had an interview with Business First yesterday with Craig. So we were able to talk a little bit about our vision, my vision, where the college is going, a little bit conversation about the South Campus, where we are with that, and then spend a lot of time talking about some of the things I like to do personally and what I want to focus on, both at the college level but also on a personal, in terms of just some of the things I like about Western New York. Snow is one of them. But really working through that, and the fact that we have an awesome community, and really just to deepen that relationship for us. And so for me, living in Western New York, raising my family, but certainly having the opportunity to meet the different leaders, both for-profit and non-for-profit organization, really trying to make our community better. So I would like personally, as well as the college, to be embedded in that and really make a difference like we do, but continue that on a larger scale. So it was great. So I have to do some pictures today as well.
Oh, okay. I don't want to steal your thunder. Thank you. And then just turning now to Len and Ken, my friends, about the Joan Bozer event on April 18th. I have that, in mind, but I do think that it would be appropriate that the face of the board be not me, but the two of you at that event, in whatever way that takes,
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
So I know that you have, and I knew Mrs. Bozer and admired her greatly, and a good friend of Alan's and so forth, but the two of you have involvement with her that is rich and long-standing, and it's an exciting night for the two of you to be there. So any comments, Leonard or Ken, on that event coming
The
up?
planning is coming together very well. Adium is providing, strong leadership, making sure all key people are at the meetings. Gail is taking over, facilitating those meetings, is doing a great job. We met just this week, it was Monday or Tuesday, and things are coming along very well. We're gathering a list of people to invite. All kinds of Alan's daughter, Julia, is putting together a history of the old post office, and it's going to be a very, I think it's going to be a first-class event. And I think it's going to become an historical event for the college, and that we recognize as somebody who played just a key role in making the city campus possible, naming the atrium in her honor, and just delving into the history of the preservation movement, education in West New York, citizen involvement, Joan championed all those things. And we're just very excited. We're meeting every 2 weeks between now and it's funny, it's 3 months away, but it's going to go by like a flash. And we're really building toward, I think, a solid an event, and something that the college can really put in its history books.
I had a couple thoughts on that. One of them is, and this is just totally for you to consider.
Right.
But Douglas Jamal has come into town since Joan was a prominent figure
Correct.
here. And yet he has had a very significant role in historic preservation, reuse of properties and so forth. Whether he and or his organization, his folks, would find interest in this event, I think would be worth
we can
pursuing.
reach out there. That's a great idea.
Yeah. Number one, I was thinking about that overnight. And then, Dr. Sakai, we should make a note with the county executive at our February 5th meeting to make sure that he and his staff and relevant people at the county are all very much aware of the legislature of this in advance. There will be invitations, of course, but let's get that on everybody's calendar.
Absolutely. And I know in addition to that, we did send out a press release in regard to this, so that went out, and I know we're going to share that with the college community, right, Craig? So that should be, but I also want to note that our faculty are intimately involved. So we have our faculty, Dr. Sabrina King from City, as well as Nate Kester, who are working on a project. So with Julia helping that, part of what we want to do is make it a project in a capstone course, in honors, part of the honor program. So we're going to give that to our students in the honor program so that they are putting that part of their honor project. So we're excited about that in terms of making it real for our students.
Okay. And then my last item is that, finish with students. I'm looking forward to commencement. Commencement will be on May 22nd at the usual place at Buff State. And trustees, if you can mark your calendar, that's a great night to be part of Erie Community College, to see that graduation ceremony. That concludes my report. Trustee Lloyd is not here for a student report, so we'll defer that until our next meeting. Colleen Quinn, College Senate.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So College Senate met in December. We don't typically meet in January because the semester has not begun yet. We will be meeting February 13th, be picking up on what we left off on in December. So in December, as mentioned earlier, we passed a policy on academic forgiveness, which is our fresh start and 36 credit hour adjustments. So the fresh start is for students that are returning to SUNY Erie to give them, put them in good academic standing for graduation. And then the 36-hour adjustment is for our students that are currently enrolled, but they might switch majors or anything like that to keep them also in good standing. So that will be coming to the Board Policy Committee. We have our Academic Integrity Subcommittee of Academic Standards met yesterday, and we're discussing academic dishonesty statements, the academic dishonesty and integrity policy. We're looking into updating that and that procedure, and that will incorporate the artificial intelligence. But we also have a resolution coming to the Senate to form an official task force of the College Senate on artificial intelligence, because it's more than just an academic integrity issue, right? Because it's there. We can use it as part of an education piece, how to use it in the classroom, how to educate our students to use it appropriately, how to police it, all those things. So there's a lot more involved than just our academic integrity statement. So that will be coming forward for the February meeting, and then we'll have different faculty and staff that'll be on that committee that'll focus on that, and then they'll give what they find to our academic integrity subcommittee for that policy work.
And not to get ahead of it on AI, but it's not a simple matter of just saying thou shalt not utilize this. It can be utilized in constructive ways, right? But
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And we've done a few tests with our distance learning committee where we have written something and put it through the AI detector, where we wrote it and it came up more than 50% AI, but it was an original work, and where we've sent things that were AI through the AI detector, and it was like at 60%. So the tools that are out there right now are not up to speed with our needs, and so we want to make sure that we have an educating our faculty that like these tools are there, but they're not necessarily accurate, right? And so we don't want to be penalizing students for an AI detector that might not be 100% accurate. So there's a educating component as well with this task force.
this subject is coming at us, and it's almost tempting to say, I'm fairly old, I don't have to know about this, but we all do, and especially as leaders of the college community. This is something where that if you, at your various workplaces or other places, get a chance to attend a seminar, take some continuing education training on AI, or it's useful to do. I think this is not something we put our head in the sands about. The College Senate is doing what it should in terms of grappling with this immediately. We on the board, Melody is certainly, I'm sure, ready to take this up at the policy committee, talk it through. She is a prominent leader in the educational space, where I'm sure she's been at conferences where this has been discussed, and she has her own views on this. But it's just something that we're warming up to this subject, taking the Senate's involvement as an opening to make sure that we at Erie Community College address this, grapple with it, and make our peace with it.
Right, and we have to stay up with the times and with what's being done in K-12. So kids in high school are using AI in the classroom for various things, and so they'll be coming to us with that knowledge and how to use it, and so we need to be able to also use it and accepting of it as well. So we have to keep up with what our students are going to be coming to us with. So. So that's exciting. We have a lot of faculty that are really excited to be a part of this task force, and from all different areas. So we'll have a wealth of knowledge coming in with the different faculty members that want to participate.
When and if you need some airtime at the board level, just work with Dr. Sagai to arrange for that, to discuss this subject if the task force feels that's important.
I will, absolutely. That's great. We really appreciate that. Some other things that we're going to be looking at is our General Education Committee proposed reforming our SUNY DEIJ committee, and that's going to be coming forward through the next semester as well. And we'll just be looking at a few things like our never attends, and just some small procedural things that we can have on the books with correct processes and things like that, so that we're consistent across the college and consistent with our neighboring schools as well.
Okay.
All right, so our next meeting is February 13th.
All right.
All right.
Thank you, Colleen.
Sure,
Appreciate
thank
it.
you.
And now we turn to Dr. Sagai for the presidential report.
Sure. Pictures, please. I'm not sure what happened to my voice, but forgive me. Okay, so opening day, spring 2024, exciting moment for us to have that. Our faculty and staff were there. We had an incredible morning, really focusing on our strategic plan for the college and really reinforcing that. This is the time for us to really apply our strategic plan for the college, to really make sure that all of our work is tied to that. So we did some work with that and followed it up in the afternoon with different workshops. So that was incredible. We had an opportunity, the Taste of Diversity. I believe it ended this Monday. They've been with us for a couple weeks at the South Campus. This was sort of a celebration. Certainly they were very happy in my role as a president, so they brought a wonderful cake and goodies, so I'm very grateful for the team. But this is an initiative that we work with Chairwoman April Bassett to make sure that the restaurants that are part of the pilot with the Taste of Diversity, these were 6 restaurants that we pilot with our community, our college community received the restaurants really well. They were very receptive to our need. Our students had an opportunity to taste a variety of food to no cost to our students. We made sure that our students were able to get lunches from the different restaurants. We will have a meeting with the Taste of Diversity team just to get their feedback and any opportunities that we may be able to work with them, working with Sue and her team to ensure that we're following all the right process and procedure. But this is a really great opportunity to serve our college community as well as the different individuals that are at the South Campus, but also to be part of the community discussion. So to make sure that diversity means application in real life in terms of how we as a college feel about that. I also attended the ceremony for Law Enforcement Training Academy, an incredible service that we do for our county. And just a really important piece that we do. Certainly we will extend this to the board as well. I think it's quite an experience to be a part of that. I had a great opportunity to also be part of the SGA retreat event and talk to our students and really had a great time engaging with them. And then we welcomed our student during the spring 2024. This is also an opportunity for us to revisit our new student orientation. We do an online. We did not continue what we two years ago, I believe. We initiated that we were going to be very focused on having an interactive orientation online. Somewhere along we moved out of that way of doing, so we are revisiting that. So right now we're going to hold off any orientation for fall 2025 until we come back to that and really have a very engaging online orientation as well as in the physical sense. We have to make sure that our orientation is meaningful for our students. We cannot just have information by way just of a PowerPoint, as that is not the way to engage our students. So we are, under Colleen's leadership, we are going to revisit our online orientation as well as the physical orientation for our students. We also do the orientation for our family for our students. So those are some of the highlight on the pictures. I like pictures. It says a lot. So we'll continue to do that. Similar to what Jeff indicated, a little bit because of the holiday and other things, there was not a lot of activity, but I just want to highlight a couple of things that I was able to attend. The swearing ceremony for our county exec, I was able to attend that and met some great, wonderful people. Again, constantly to these different events, they're very supportive of where the college is and where the college to go. So I'm very humbled by that. Continuously meeting with SUNY, our chancellor is constantly having a monthly meeting. We have a meeting set up today, so he's definitely very engaged with all the presidents to make sure that we are updated on a lot of things, but also to ensure that he hears our voices. So I'm grateful for that, and also his leaderships at SUNY. One of the individuals that I've met with is the vice chancellor for student success, by way of her given us an additional $50,000 for our daycare for our students who are in our ASAP program, and they could use it in internal or with our daycare here. It could be used for after school program or even summer camp for those students who are engaging in our ASAP program. That's awesome opportunity for us, especially as we're reaching the non-traditional students we know that a daycare and funding the daycare is a barrier. So I'm excited about that. We also were invited, part of the New York State Tech Hub workforce that's coming in Western New York. The proposal went out. The first proposal went out, so there's a second proposal to that to make the hub in Western New York. And this is a collaboration between Rochester and Syracuse. And so we were able to engage in that. We were invited by the Buffalo Niagara Community Partnership. Kathy Calesto is appointed to represent our college. So they've been having a couple meetings to discuss how we as a community college could engage in that tech hub. So that is going to be huge for us. With that, one of the things that we're doing on the program side is really we put an application to have our technology information be able to be offered at the city campus. Right now it's just at South, so it's an additional site. It's not taken away from South, but it's an additional site to offer information technology for our city students, so that in part because of this program coming downtown, that we want to make sure we are engaged on that. I had the pleasure of meeting with Ben and Switek from the county exec and Jacqueline Hull regarding Erie County healthcare careers. That's a different grant that the county has, and this speaks to Ken, to your question about making sure we're serving our students in the county. So this is to really ensure, particularly as it relates to our nursing program, that our students are going to the college, to SUNY Erie, and so there's additional funding to help in general health sciences, but particularly nursing, but they are also willing to open up other opportunities for non-nursing programs. So we put additional program information there as well to increase that participation. Tomorrow, the governor is planning to be here, so I will be attending that invitation to talk about her budget. That will be here at the University of Buffalo, 9 o'clock in the morning. The other thing, speaking to what Jeff mentioned regarding the state of the college, that is, I'm very excited about that. But one of the things that I feel very strongly about is that we need to listen. I need to listen to the college community, to our students, to even outside partners as well as alumni. So I will be having a listening session starting January 30th, because we had to make some changes at 3 of the different campuses in a focus group kind of setup. This will be in person. We did mention this during our opening service as well as during the Senate. So we'll send out flyers to the college community, but also invite the partners that we have in the community as well as our alumni to really hear it. I will also extend that to the board on a different setup so that we could participate in that listening session. So that will certainly give me a lot of insight, but also will sort of direct into the state of the address. What do we really need to address? So I think it's important that we have this listening session and really hear our college community and external partners. I think that is it. And we talked about the drama. Yes. Okay.
All right, very good, thank you. For the benefit of those around the wall, we are going to have a brief executive session today. I don't expect there to be matters of great significance addressed, discussed, or acted on during that executive session, but we do need to have some brief discussion. When we come back, we'll come out of executive session. I'll make mention of what we did if we did take formal action, and then we will adjourn. So I don't see any further meeting after the executive session. So at this point, I'd like to accept a motion to go into executive session for the purpose of discussing matters relating to the sale or lease of real property, as well as matters relating to, broadly speaking, personnel, that being the employment, promotion, demotion, discipline, suspension, dismissal, or removal of a particular person.
So moved.
Thank you. A second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are moving from general session to executive session.